Well, so we're ready to give you a gist of what is making topical news across the media space. And we have some of those stories here. Would have to start with the headlines we have for you on the AM show.
Yes, so emphasizing the recent attack of a colleague by suspected armed robbers, call for better security both in Parliament and at home.
Cardiothoracic Center at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital performs its first ever heart bypass surgery.
And the President of Ghana, John Dramani Mahama, travels to Sweden to co-host the midterm review meeting of the Global Alliance for Vaccines and Immunization.
Well, so we now bring you the details of the news. And please, in the course of the whole show, the AM show, live on the Joy News channel of Multi TV, please get interactive. We have the short code 1760 for all networks, and also a WhatsApp platform, and with the number you can always get communicative. Now let me just tell you the number, and the number is 0544334722. Akosia, please start with the news.
Okay, so we're taking the first story. MP citing the recent attack by a colleague by suspected robbers and the Westage Mall tourist incident are asking for enhancement of their personal security both at Parliament House and in their homes. Deputy Majority Leader Alfred Agbesi, who made the call, all but asked for MPs to be assigned escorts.
Ranking member on the Finance Committee and former Minister of State at the Finance Ministry, Dr. Antonia Kotuosei, described 2013 as a lost cause and urged the Finance Minister to take some tough measures, even though he concedes he can do very little without the backing of the President.
If I were the Minister, I mean, some tough decisions would have to be made. But he's acting for the President, so it's the President who must decide which tough decisions to make. We've lost 2012. Forward looking, how is 2013 is going to be looking like? It cannot be like 2012. It's obvious that certain things are not going right, so we will need to find out why, for example, they are not achieving their revenue targets and so forth. And stories like the Suba thing don't help. So we will be probing. We hope that he will have the answers for us.
Despite the challenges, however, the Minister of State in charge of financial and allied institutions was optimistic Ghanaians in the coming years will realize the benefits.
The revenues are increasingly becoming far short compared to the whole need that we have. That acceleration, if you continue the way it is, the truth, this country will grind to a halt. We can't do anything. So clearly, I'm sure some announcement will have to be made relating to how it is we can constrain the acceleration. How also we can bring in motion processes that would expand the revenue base in order to be able to meet the necessary expenditures, as I mentioned. Looking at themselves, wondering whether they can, in true conscience, look at the people of this country after needlessly holding back the economy of this country for several months on a totally needless petition that is sent to the Supreme Court.
Other members also share their views on the matter.
We want the minister to come out to the House with clearly defined plan of how to close those loopholes in the economy. For example, look at the SADA, for instance, the SADA scandal with the guinea fowl chain. And these monies are just running into a drain. So we need the minister to come to the House and tell us proper mechanisms, systems that they are going to put in place to stop all this loot and share syndrome.
The difficulty that we are all aware of is almost all our revenue from tax is going into personal emolument, which is taking about 70%, I understand. But I think in all, we want to see some prudent measures that will be taken to continue to maintain very good fiscal policy measures to ensure that the implementation of these policies will inure to our own good.
The chairman of the Finance Committee, James Aveji, however, says the issues must not be politicized.
If a country like Ghana with 25 million people, we should have over 600,000 workers on government payroll. How best can we pay those people? And if what we are paying them now, which they are claiming is not even enough, is taking about 70% of the total revenue coming to government, the remaining 30%, what can it do? This is a critical question we should be asking ourselves. So we have to take time and look at what do we do. Do we reduce expenditure on wages? How do we reduce it? To reduce the level of pay that we give to them now, which is not even enough, or we reduce the number of people on government payroll. I think the public must start the debate and let's come up with a solution so that we do not politicize everything. It is something that is real. Let's face it as a country.
The coming weeks will be dominated by discussions on the 2014 budget, which is expected to be laid in a few weeks.
Talking about money and how finances are managed, well, documents from the Bank of Ghana submitted to the Judgment Debt Commission have confirmed the payment of 4,159 Ghana cedis to African Automobile Limited, dealers of Mitsubishi vehicles in Ghana. And the payment is in respect of the Ministry of Employment and Labour Relations indebtedness to the Mitsubishi dealers. Chief Manager of the Banking Department of the Bank of Ghana, Paul Mensah Ishen, submitted a copy of the check cleared in December 2012 to prove that African Automobile Limited had been paid for the indebtedness of or to the Ministry of Employment and Labour Relations. The African Automobile Limited had sued several ministries, government, departments and agencies over unpaid servicing and maintenance costs of some Mitsubishi vehicles dating as far back as 1995.
Former press secretary in the SYNPP administration, Kwabena Agyapong, has officially launched his campaign to contest the general secretary position of the NPP. Kwabena Agyapong is hoping to fall on the experience garnered in politics and during his time as press secretary to former President Kufuor.
Kwabena Agyapong was accompanied to the press center by his supporters and some leading members of the party, including former General Secretary Nana Ohinimto and by Kokwe Jr. He then spelled out his intentions.
I bring with me the institutional memory of this party. I've been there right from day one, okay? And so I know that a lot of party people know the amount of work I've done in this party, helping to reorganize the grassroots, educating people about the electoral process. And I do believe that politics, all politics, is local, and that we have to strengthen our machinery. I mean, in times I think that there has been a certain preponderance of communication as the main tool of politics. Communication is important, but the field operations and making sure that the polling stations are well oiled, the constituencies are in control.
He used the opportunity to deny assertions in some media circles that he was arrogant.
I know myself. I think arrogant people are people who disrespect others. And I'm intensely respectful of every Ghanaian. And those who have dealt with me will tell you that. Most of our party faithful gyrated towards me because I will solve their problems for them. I believe that in a day, if you are able to help 1-2 people, you would have done your service to God. So in that respect, there are many people who can give you evidence of how I've been able to touch their lives and affect their lives. Of course, as a politician and as a young man, sometimes you can be very strong and tough. And I used to be quite a tough cookie. And so therefore there is this talk about being arrogant. I don't think so. I wasn't brought up like that. I'm a Methodist, and we Methodists are very humble. We know how to talk to people, and so that for me is not something I want to dwell on.
Kwabena Agyapong also denied allegations the NPP is divided along tribal and ethnic lines.
First and foremost, I want to be very clear with you, and let's be factual. There is no such caucuses in the NPP. And you can check from the records at the party headquarters. There are no such caucuses as you've described in the NPP. Where we come from in this country does not matter. We are Ghanaians first and foremost. Those who have made it their business to emphasize where we come from, I believe, don't believe in the Ghanaian project. For me, as General Secretary, and I know majority of well-meaning Ghanaians feel like brothers and sisters. We are all Ghanaians. And that's what should unite us. You know, so I think we should look positively into the future. And this talk about division, no, our party is a democratic party.
Former General Secretary of the party, Nana Ohene Nto, made a case for his colleague.
Indeed, I think Kobna is totally rounded and very well qualified to do this job. He has a lot of experience as a politician. Of course, he's a professional engineer. With that kind of mind, a person with that kind of mind going into politics, that can tell you that this is a very strategic-minded person. He has a lot of experience in the party, in government. He's a good personality. He has the capacity to think on his feet, and also he's a great team player. I think Kobna is very well placed to be the General Secretary of our party, and he has very good chance of winning.
The election of the executives to lead the party into the 2016 presidential and parliamentary elections is slated for March 1, 2014.
Well, so the race within the MPP is heating up for those gunning for various positions as far as the leadership management of the party is concerned. But let's now turn our attention to health. And the Cardiothoracic Center, the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, has conducted its first heart bypass surgery. Well, it also marks the first time the process known as coronary stenting is being performed here in Ghana. Doctors at the center say the success of the surgery on 50-year-old Digol Mohammed opens the door for other patients with similar heart conditions. Yafuswa Jimfi has more.
50-year-old Digol Mohammed, a Nigerian national, has for the past 5 years been experiencing recurrent chest pains with irregular heartbeat. He says he was referred to the Cardiothoracic Center when his condition grew worse.
I was diagnosed with hypertension about 4 years ago, and I was on drugs, and of recent I started getting chest pain. Tests were conducted on me, and ultimately there was a need for further test to reconfirm, diagnose the problem very well. In the course of event, it was discovered that I have some of my blood vessels are almost blocked, and I was a candidate for stroke or heart attack.
Doctors at the center say Digol would have died if he did not report to the center when he did. On Monday, a team of cardiologists at the Cardio Center performed the heart bypass surgery on Digol, the first person to have undergone the procedure in Ghana. A leading member of the team, Dr. Abdul Sami Tanko, says the coronary stenting procedure is the best, especially in cases where the patient reports to the center early.
This patient would have a blockage in one of the vessels that supply blood to the heart. And we proceeded to do what we term, or what is called coronary angiogram. Coronary angiogram, in simple terms, is having access to the heart through the groin by simple injection and injecting and putting some contrasts into these wires. They are able to demarcate the vessels of the heart, or to put in this device called stent that is able to open this blockage and allow free flow of blood. Then put in some balloon, open it, and then leave the stent there. So the stent is there forever.
He also explains the coronary intervention is less aggressive and inexpensive as compared to the open heart surgery procedure they have been performing over the years. Unlike the open heart surgery, which requires a longer time for one to recover, Digol, just 24 hours after his surgery, is up and about.
To all intent and purposes, is successful because you can even see it on the screen on the television, because it was only my leg that was demobilized. So myself, I was looking at what was going on when the whole thing was running inside my system, and you can see the spontaneous change in the flow of the blood. And I can say I'm feeling very well. At least I have not felt the way I'm feeling in the last 5 years.
After a medical checkup on Tuesday, he has been discharged.
The former rector of the Ghana Institute of Public Administration, Professor Stephen Adair, has questioned why metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies continue to receive subvention from government. Speaking at the 3-day orientation workshop in Wa in the Upper West region. He asked government to stop funding for MDAs. Rafiq Salam has a report.
The three-day orientation workshop is to refocus or reorient the leadership of metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies on the rudiments of local government administration. It brought together all municipal, district chief executives, district coordinating directors and budget officers of the various metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies in the region. Opening the workshop, the Upper West Regional Minister Dr. Ephraim Avianso asked MMDCAs to get to know the people so as to provide quality leadership. He cautioned MMDCs against ostentatious and flashy lifestyles.
And say it is me or the party person who told you that he helped to do is a lie. President has the only prerogative, and that's the way I want to work. Work independently of me, but work under me. Be conscious that your quality took you there, and not that somebody took you there. That's the feeling, that's the wrong thing I've always had, and I'm sure people will come around. And now will help you come. Look at the way he's treating us. He will give us the contract. And now he says, boss, do your job and forget that I helped you or chairman helped you or somebody in your village or in Accra helped you. Be an independent GCE and work very well.
A former rector of the Ghana Institute of Management and Public Administration, Professor Stephen Ade, who was one of 6 resource persons for the workshop, expressed worry over the continuous release of funds from central government for MMDAs.
I have the biggest corporation in Ghana, one of the biggest corporations in Ghana. They have all their bungalows on the hills there, they don't pay any rate. We will make a bylaw, we will get the assembly approve of it, and they don't pay, their buildings will be confiscated. I mean, it's a question of contributing your quota. I don't mean exploiting them. But if you live in a house which is worth $500,000 Ghana cedis and you cannot pay 10,000 for rate, who should be paying it?
He had the suggestion for the government in the Accra Metropolitan Assembly.
I don't see the reason why government should put a PESWA in Greater Accra, in Accra Metropolitan Assemblies. If they set revenues, property rates and other things right, that should give them all the money they need. So there are some people, and what the government should be doing, unfortunately, we appoint such positions according to party. And of course, I'm not talking about going to the opposition to appoint a MC, metropolitan or municipal chief executive. Not that all. But you ask one, what are you going to do? If I'm appointing you as chief executive of Accra Metropolitan Area, you must give me an agenda.
Rafiq Salam's report from WA.
President John Mahama has left Accra for Stockholm, Sweden. The president will be co-hosting the midterm review meeting of the Global Alliance for Vaccines and Immunization with the Swedish Minister for International Development Cooperation, Hillevi Engström. The meeting is expected to evaluate the progress made by the alliance in its quest to deliver on the goals of the London Pledging Conference back in 2011. The goals include accelerating the uptake and the use of underused and new vaccines, strengthening health systems to improve immunization coverage, improving long-term predictability and stability of immunization financing, and helping to improve vaccine market conditions for developing countries. President Mahama, who was elected by the Global Fund as an ambassador, has been holding talks on how to harness global public-private partnerships in the post-2015 agenda. Donors of the 2011 Pledging Conference puts in some $4.3 billion for the immunization of 250 million of the world's poorest children by 2015. More than 150 participants, including the WHO, UNICEF, the World Bank, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, are expected to attend the meeting in Sweden.
Okay, so we'll take a look at the headlines again. MP citing recent attack of a colleague by suspected armed robbers call for better security both in Parliament and at their home.
And medical experts in Ghana breaking new grounds as the Cardiothoracic Center at the Korle Bu Teaching Hospital has performed its first ever heart bypass surgery.
And the President of Ghana, John Dramani Mahama, travels to Sweden to co-host the midterm review meeting of the Global Alliance Vaccine and Immunization.
Well, that's it for the news headlines on the AM show,
Yeah.
live on the Joy News channel on Multi TV.
Up next is sports with Rashida. Is there?
Exciting news from the camp of Chelsea. Please stay on. We'll be right back.
I am Rashida Babakadiri. Glad to come your way once again to talk sports on the AM show. It's proudly made possible by Tigo. Smile, you've got Tigo. Now, a lot of headlines are making the rounds in the world of sports this morning. But before we delve into the European bits of it, let's start from right here in Ghana. Now, FIFA hasn't made anything concrete. They haven't made any concrete announcement to say that indeed Ghana would have to go and play the second leg with Egypt in Cairo or at a neutral ground. I mean, FIFA has 48 hours, or within the next 48 hours, we're expecting FIFA to make an announcement. But ahead of this, Egyptian Premier League side, Al Ahly, they have been forced to change the venue for their second leg encounter in the CAF Champions League final against Orlando Pirates. Now, they say they are moving it to a more secure stadium. It was supposed to have come off at the military stadium, but they've moved it to the Air Defense Stadium, which means that still the security situation in Egypt is questionable. So I'm thinking that this is putting some sort of pressure on FIFA to ensure that we move the match away from Cairo to a more neutral ground. But stick and stay to all the platforms on Joy Sports because we'll bring you details of this particular story. And then yesterday, the 16 Premier League teams in Ghana smiled all the way to the bank because each of them had 25,000 Ghana cedis or 12,500 Ghana cedis, which was the first tranche of three from media rights holder SuperSport. So SuperSport said they were going to pay the clubs in 3 tranches. Yesterday was the first time, and they had $12,500 each, and this gives them certainly some boost. And then also talking about Premier League teams, Amidal's professionals, they actually have been able to secure sponsorship for the club, $30,000 from UT Bank. So another good one there for Amidal's professionals. So that's what's happening. Now let's move away from Ghana and get to Europe. Yesterday, Michael Essien, the Ghanaian ace, he guided Chelsea. He actually captained Chelsea to beat Arsenal in the Capital One Cup that was played last night. Also, Manchester United were able to beat Norwich City by 4-0 to progress to the 5th round of the competition. Now, there are fixtures that are coming up today or tonight in the Capital One Cup in England. Let's catch the fixtures right on your screens. Newcastle United are up against Manchester City, and the Tottenham Hotspur, they will host Hull City tonight in the Capital One fixtures. Away from England, let's go to Spain now, where there will be La Liga matches today or tonight. But before then, Barcelona dealt Celta Vigo a heavy blow last night, beating them 3-0. Here are excerpts of that game.
Be the Catalans to draw first blood as a shot from Cesc Fabregas was saved by Yola Torino, but the keeper failed to keep out an effort from Alexis Sanchez, who netted his second goal in as many matches. A weighted ball into the box from Pedro found Sanchez at the far post, whose header was blocked by Torino. Celta Vigo penetrated the Barcelona defence in the 27th minute, but a shot from Charles landed safely in Victor Valdez's hands. The visitors eventually managed to calm the threat from Celta Vigo and took their lead into half-time. 3 minutes into the second half, a superb strike from some distance from Fabregas hit the woodwork and rebounded off the keeper to hand Barcelona their second goal of the night. A Lionel Messi assist allowed Fabregas to net Barca's second in the 54th minute with a strike into the Celta Vigo near post. The 4-time World Player of the Year kept knocking on the Celta Vigo keeper's door, but was repeatedly kept out with fine saves such as this one.
Still Messi! Again, he brings out the best in your Pedro left disappointed.
Barca's attack didn't stop there, but nothing came of their efforts, and they settled for a 3-0 win to continue their unbeaten run in the season.
Right, so back from the Camp Nou, let's check out fixtures in tonight's Champions La Liga matches on the screens right now. Coming up, fixtures for La Liga, midweek fixtures for La Liga in Spain. Here we go. Yes, Real Valladolid are up against Real Sociedad. Valencia are up against Almeria. Osasuna are up against Rayo Vallecano. Sevilla, they travel to Real Madrid, to the Santiago Bernabeu. Atletico Madrid, they also travel to Granada. Getafe will be away to Villarreal. Atletico Bilbao, they will host Elche. And talking about Elche, Richmond Boachi-Adam, the Ghanaian striker, is out of hospital now, and he is receiving treatment. He is expected to be on the sidelines for about 3 weeks. Real Betis, they take on Levante. There are matches also coming up in Italy this evening in the Italian Serie A. Here are the fixtures coming up right about now. Right, so AC Milan, they play host to Lazio. Cagliari are at home to Bologna. Fiorentina, they host Napoli. Parma travel to Genoa. Hellas Verona are at home to Sampdoria. Catania, they travel to Juventus. Torino are up against Livorno, and Sassuolo take on Udinese. AS Roma, they take on Chievo Verona. So how about a certain Mesut Ozil and Adebayo teaming up in one particular club, or teaming up for one particular club to play one tournament? I mean, it's very possible because the Joy Sports Invitational Tournament Season 7 is going to make this possible. So there's an Adebayo, there's a Mesut Ozil, and there's also a John Terry alongside a host of other players who will be playing for the Sweden Ghana Medical Center, SGMC. Now, we started our series on with interviews or with the companies that are going to take part in the 7th edition of the Joy Sports Invitational Tournament. Yesterday was the 10th of SGMC. Let's see how they are preparing for Season 7 of the Joy Sports Invitational Tournament.
We go a lot on international recruitment.
Oh, international recruitment.
We have a base of Ghanaian players, but we spice it up with some Scandinavian, Nigerian players.
You are going to be promising us that you're definitely going to win this one, right?
Oh, certainly. Yeah. This is just the beginning.
This is just the beginning.
Oh, yes. No, well, we're always ready, always ready.
Always ready.
Always ready.
You're definitely going to convert that into a lot.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yes, of course I'm a dangerous player because all my brothers who follow me, any pass they give it to me, I score. My brother, you know, everything they in football, but I believe that all our players, they are ready for everything, and we are going to do a better, wonders.
But how have you seen the training so far?
Oh, the training is very good. We just started, I haven't kept long, but I see the performance is going on. No.
How many goals have you scored so far in training?
Expect more. This is just Mesut Ozil, Adebayo, and John Terry. There's more from other companies who will be part of Season 7 of the Joy Sports Invitational coming up on November 23. Do stay tuned and, of course, keep to all our platforms on radio, on TV, and online because we'll have more for you. That'll do it for sports this morning. It's proudly sponsored by Tigo. Smile, you've got Tigo. My name is Rashida Baba Kadiri.